What is happening, sports fans? It's your main man, Matt, rocking it solo from the DFS 5-pack. It is Tuesday, September 7th. And yeah, we got a full slate to talk about tonight. Hopefully everyone had a good weekend, had a good Labor Day. Hopefully everyone crushed some MLB DFS. I know that it's a pretty good weekend for me overall. I almost took down the late night, like big $15 last night, but I got third because a Trevino single in the top of the ninth scored Nate Lowe, and two guys passed me. Cost me quite a bit of change, but it is okay. We will get it back tonight. I'm excited to talk this slate over. It's a fun one, and let's rock it. Screen share this, and we'll be on our way. Alrighty, so as far as pitching options go, DK really finally priced guys up like the best pitcher on the slate in a tough spot, against the Blue Jays in a nice hitter's ballpark. Is close to 12K at 11.8, coming off a dominant start last time out. As far as simply put, Cole's the best pitcher on the slate. So if you can make it work with him, I like him a lot. Like, the drop down from him is real. I'm a huge Aaron Nola fan, but he is just not the same on the road. Even though I do like him here. We'll get to him in a second. As far as Cole goes, man, don't normally like picking pitchers like after they threw a start like that, but Cole's a different breed. Like, he is this guy, one of the top 3 pitchers in baseball. He looks like he's in great form right now. The spot is not good, though, so he's far from a must. He won't get a lot of love, though, so if you want to take a chance and, like I said, make it work with less expensive bats in tournaments, do your thing. Nola wasn't very good last time out in Washington. He's just so much better at home. It's hard to really get excited about him on the road. That alone might keep me off of him here. He's not going to get any love either at 10.6. He's pricey, and I can see why he's coming in under-owned. Logan Webb also coming in really under-owned, and it's all because of the spot. He has been phenomenal. Check the game log. I mean, this dude is balling. Tough spots, easy spots, doesn't matter. He's throwing up 25-plus in all of them, 20-plus at least at the worst. At no ownership, I'm intrigued. The Rockies are decent at home, but their lineup's not good. And Webb has been phenomenal, like I mentioned. So in tournaments, I think he's a nice pivot or a potential pivot off of Chalky Blake Snell, it's hard not to get on board with Snell here. I hate Chalky Blake Snell, so I probably won't do it. But he's thrown over 100 pitches in 5 out of his last 6, which you like to see. Double-digit strikeouts in 3 of 5, 9 in one of the other ones. Didn't allow a hit last time out. He's been really good. I mean, he looks more like the Blake Snell we've known and loved for the past few years, and now getting a weak Angels lineup with no DH. Oh, probably no Ohtani. Yeah, Snell makes sense. I mean, as much as I hated Chalky Snell, and I don't know if I'll do it, he makes a lot of sense. Erod was awesome last time out in Tampa, now in the same spot at home against Tampa. I think it's a little bit too risky for me. Tampa looks like they're clicking on all cylinders at the moment. He's expensive also. That said, he's another potential pivot off of Blake Snell. Eric Lauer, no thanks. Just not really a huge fan at that price point. Max Fried makes a lot of sense. He's getting love, and I see why. 20-plus and 4 or 5. Very affordable price point. In a really good spot against Washington. I like him quite a bit. He makes sense. Especially with how they price guys up. I like him quite a bit here. After that, Steven Matz, no thanks. Not in this spot against the Yankees. Just no. I'd rather go to some Yankees bats. Wade Miley. I don't think it's crazy. The Cubs are not good. I like the Reds' offense more than I like Miley, but probably not where I want to go. Logan Gilbert. Man, no thanks on Logan Gilbert here. Just Houston went off last night. It seems like they might, they're very feast or famine these days. What I saw last night, I struggled to get to Gilbert here. Faced Houston 2 out of the last 3. Wouldn't be surprised if they got to him here. Another guy getting quite a bit of love is Zack Allen. I'm a huge Gallen fan. He's really affordable and a great spot at home against Texas. He makes sense. So it looks like the chalk SPs are Snell, Fried, and Gallen. They all make sense. They really do. I'll have more of a decisive answer in cash games on which 2 you should go with, but I think you can't really go wrong with any of those 3 in cash games right now. Caprillion, no thanks. Not in his for him. Really tough spot. Surprised if the White Sox got him here. Odorizzi pulling a little bit of ownership, like not as much as those other guys, but probably more than he should. Nah, not in the same spot. Odorizzi's just not a guy I'm looking to use on this particular slate. No thanks on Sin. Definitely no Hap. Mitch White, no. Espino, definitely not. There are good offensive spots on this slate. Packy Naughton, no. Jack Lampert. Jimmy Lambert, excuse me. Yeah, he's not going to be long for this game. So, no, thank you. I guess he's coming in relief. Not interested here. Actually, I could see Arizona getting the Lyles. He's been very feast or famine. He seems to pitch well when you least expect it. Although Colorado, not the worst spot in the world. It was awful against Cleveland, but was amazing in Boston. So I could see either side of it. But the fact that he's not starting would have me real cautious on using him. And Arizona's been better lately. More interested in the Arizona bats. Coar, I don't think he's crazy as a cheap option, but on this slate, man, it's hard to get there. Chichi, no. Samson, definitely not. Wells, no. And Knable, no. So really, the cheapest guy I'm looking at, and that's why I don't think Lyles is like crazy, because he's the only one on this page I would even consider using, to be perfectly honest. So I see why Odorizzi's getting a little bit of love. Gallen, Fried, Snell. I mean, it might be a day that, even for me, and I never mind this if I like them using chalk pitchers and just getting weird offensively. I don't know if I can trust the chalky Snell. I haven't been on him. He's been so good. I know the minute I do get on him, he's going to blow up and implode. This is such a good spot for him, though. The Angels are awful. No Ohtani, probably. And I think Webb's intriguing in tournaments. Garrett Cole, obviously, stud. And Nola, I don't think is crazy either. I mean, if you like a really cheap offense, no one's going to play Nola and Cole. And they're the two best pitchers on the slate. So that's all I got to say. All right, let's talk about some offenses, because I think that's where really the fun begins here. We'll make it a little bit harder on ourselves and plug in Fried and Snell. Casey, Baltimore. Casey's getting, both these teams actually getting quite a bit of love, and it's because of their price tags. People want expensive pitching. Starting with KC, I mean, Salvador Perez. I imagine he gets quite a bit of love. Look at the year he's having. 41 bombs, 103 ribbies. He just is locked in. He'll be up there in MVP voting. He's not going to win it, but he might be third behind Ohtani and Vlad. Could easily see that. Whit Merrifield didn't play expensive, but really high power speed upside against lefties. Hanser Alberto will be in the lineup. Not that you're excited about him, but he's cheap as hell. And then Roberto Monteci, with both third base and shortstop eligibility, should get quite a bit of love. And man, look at the game log. This is a guy that can, hit into fielder's choices and all of a sudden get you 10 points. I mean, the game log's impressive. So he looks like a cash game staple. Now, granted, only 3 of those games are recent. I obviously just noticed that, even though I knew he was out for a while. So take that with a grain of salt. But even as just his last 3 games, dude's pouring in double digits, past 4 games. So yeah, I'm certainly intrigued with the Royals. They're going to get a little bit too much ownership, but it makes sense. They got cheap guys also to fit in with those more expensive guys. Benintendi, Carlos Santana, really cheap. So yeah, I mean, the Royals make sense as a stack, and with Coors and San Fran in such a good spot, that will lower their ownership. As far as Baltimore goes, yeah, they're affordable also. Cedric Mullins, he just continues to have a monster year, power speed upside. This dude continues to crush. So in a really good spot, under 5K, Santander, Hayes, Mountcastle, the whole lineup's in play. I can see stacking either side, both sides of this game. And I think that, like I said, they'll both be a little bit over-owned. They're not going to be high owned because it's a huge slate with Coors. All right, Toronto and the Yankees. We've got Mats against Cole. So, the Blue Jays hit good pitching. They've done that all year. Their upside on any given day is as high as anyone. Tough for me to want to stack them here, though. I don't think you're crazy to pull like a piece, like a Vlad, who's very affordable, has hit good pitching all year, took Scherzer yard twice earlier this year. He's cheap. I don't hate it. The real side of this game is the Yankees. I mean, this is a bad spot for Mats. One of these games, the Yankees, and it might not be tonight, but it's going to be sooner rather than later. And I could see stacking them here. They're going to be unowned because there's other better spots on paper, and they're not that they're expensive because they still have these really cheap guys. Torres, one of these days, is going to have a good game. Yeah, the Yankees stack, especially when they're going to be lower owned like this, intrigue me for sure. Boston and Tampa. We got Rasmussen against Erod. Wander Franco. What a beast. Tampa, I don't really want to stack, but I could see using pieces. I mentioned Franco. Nelson Cruz under 5K. Brandon Lau crushes lefties. I liked him the other day against Erod. I could see using him for sure. He's actually a guy I like quite a bit. Had the day off yesterday. Got a hit in a pinch hit appearance. So Lowe's high on my short list. Brandon Lau, excuse me. I always mess that up with him and Nate Lowe. And yeah, not really overly enticed with like the Tampa stack, but I could see using pieces. Rosarania too. Very affordable. And then Boston, kind of the same thing. This game, good ballpark. Like I could see it, but it's hard to just get there on this slate with so many good spots. It's all it is. I mean, these guys are going to be unowned, but you're going to say that about a lot of teams. Schwarber at 5,600. No one's going to use him. I don't hate it. Taylor Motter led off yesterday. It was against the lefty. He's back there tonight. He won't be, but if he was, 2,100, sure thing. That makes the Boston stack a lot more intriguing if you can get a really cheap guy like that leading off. All right, another good spot, Washington and Atlanta. I'm not overly excited by the Nationals. Actually, not excited about them at all. I'm not using them here. You can get me on board with like a Lane Thomas leading off at 2,800, and now his price has decreased. Why? Like, Frida's good, but he's not like DeGrom, and Lane Thomas has been really good leading off. So don't hate that at all. It's really about the Atlanta side here. Espino has been kind of Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, really good in some starts, then falling off in others. He's been okay recently. He was good against Philly, very good against the Mets. I feel like he's got a bad start coming in Atlanta. They're pulling a little bit of ownership, but not a lot, kind of like KC and Baltimore, maybe like even under-owned compared to those teams. And yeah, I don't hate it. Duvall, Soler, obviously Freeman, Albies, sucks no Acuna, but it's opened up those other guys in the outfield. Swanson, team to stack because their whole lineup's good. Like they're a team where I always stack bottom of the lineup, but they're a team where I expect their bottom of the lineup to be good. So they're a stack that's in play for sure. Not sure I'm going to land there, but I like them. This is a team, if I were building right now, we're getting ahead to that I would definitely be playing, and that's going to be Cincinnati. Looks like they're coming in really under-owned with San Fran pulling a ton of ownership, the Royals I mentioned, and I like the Reds a lot here. Adrian Sampson is cheeks. He is so bad. I think the Reds tee off on him here. He, like any crappy pitcher in the big leagues, it's not like every time he pitches he's bad because he's a professional pitcher. He's not really a major league guy. Reds, again, at their ownership, their lack thereof, I should say. I like Cincy a lot here. Now, I'm not sure how much we can expect Sampson to pitch here, but hopefully it's not too long because I think the Reds get to him. The Cubs bullpen is not good. Their entire lineup here. Castellanos, it's a little bit watered down. No Winker, but Moustakas should be back in there. Votto should be back in there. They're expensive enough where it's going to cut into their ownership, but not too much so where it's like impossible to fit them. Nice combination. We'll see if Cabrera's in there today, maybe instead of Suarez. Interested to see what their lineup looks like. Naquin might be at the top. He'll probably be popular no matter what, and I'm not really a fan, but he makes sense in the stack, although I will definitely have a stack of the Reds without him for sure. Reds high on my short list as of right now. Ownership can change, as always, but as of now, I'm interested in some Cincy. As far as the Cubs go, Miley's not really a guy I'm really trying to pick on with a team like this on a big slate. I'll take my shots on going after Miley, but I don't think it's tonight. Philly and Milwaukee, Lauer against Nola. As much as I like to shit on Lauer, he's not awful at all. He's not awful by any means. I mean, he's a pretty damn decent pitcher. So at 8,800, I'm not using him. But Philly, no thanks. Nice ballpark for them. They went off against Woodruff in their bullpen yesterday. So if you want to ride the train, McCutchen against the lefty, I don't hate it. Their lineup is kind of weak right now, but I don't hate pieces, but not a place I'm going to go. And then Milwaukee against Nola, even though he hasn't been great on the road, I can't, come on here and say I think Milwaukee's in some great spot and stack them. I mean, if you want to do it against a good pitcher in Nola because he's been bad on the road, do your thing, but he's not even pulling ownership. All right, moving on. We got the Dodgers and the Cardinals. So this is J Happ against like Mitch White and Corey Knebel. The Dodgers are in a good spot. Looks like they're getting some love. Happ was atrocious last time out. Wow, damn, I didn't even realize that. That must have been that doubleheader game because there was no slate for that. Had been pretty good before that. He's not in play, but I don't know how exciting the Dodgers are here. I don't think they're a bad play. I just don't love the ballpark. Haps had been decent. They got guys though, like Justin Turner at 4,100. That's way too cheap for him. Mookie Betts at 5. I mean Taylor at 3.9. He makes sense. Even lefty on lefty belly at 3,200. Muncie's only 4,400. Damn. We'll have to wait and see what their lineup looks like. But I get why they're getting a little bit of love. They're just way too cheap for their upside. As far as St. Louis goes, I mean, Mitch White's not spectacular. We've seen St. Louis win some slates recently. I don't think you're absurd to go with like Arenado, O'Neill, even a Goldie, but I just don't know if this is the slate for it. I know it's not for me. All right, Seattle and Houston. Odorizzi against Gilbert. This is when I could see some offense. Like, these pitchers were pretty good when they faced last time out. We know baseball. It doesn't always work out like that. Doesn't mean it's definitely going to flip on its head, but we saw Kikuchi last night. He's made like 4 starts against the Astros this year. 2 of them spectacular, and 2 of them, he's either made 4 or 6. So he's had 2 spectacular and either 2 or 4 like god awful. Last night he got shelled. Houston got back to hitting the ball, which is what on them for the past. I don't necessarily see it stopping tonight. I think Houston is in play. They're going to be really, really low owned, and their upside on any given night is big time. Correa, Jordan, Bregman's back. He's really affordable. Altuve's really affordable. Gurriel's expensive for who he is, but he fits the stack. Kyle Tucker was massive for me last night. Brantley's cheap as hell. Jake Myers had a big game. So, yeah, Houston's in play for me. I don't think they're the most likely to succeed, but I always like going with an under on Houston. And I actually don't think Seattle's crazy here either. I'm not the biggest Odorizzi fan. Kyle Seager at 5,200. Man, that is tough to get to, but no one will be clicking that name. JP at 42. I think Seattle maybe looks better from like a 30,000-foot view. They're pricey. They're like almost as pricey as Houston. Give me the Houston side. All right, now we get to the big boy, San Fran at Colorado. Logan Webb against Chichi, Gonzalez. Webb has been fantastic. So, like I said, he's more in play for me than the Rockies. Could he get lit up here? Sure, it can happen to anyone. The Rockies have been good at home, but I'm going to trust how well Webb is pitching and just how Colorado isn't very good overall. They won't be high owned. I don't think they're in the best spot, but Blackman looks good right now. If you want to use a couple pieces because they're going to be low owned in cores, I don't hate it. And then the Giants, I think in cash games, you want as much San Fran exposure as you can get. Brandon Belt is a lock. Brandon Crawford is a lock. Chris Bryant, he's day-to-day. So he might not be in there. We'll have to, again, another one we'll have to wait and see what their lineup looks like. But Lamont Wade potentially leading off 3,800 will be a lock. You're going to want to be like 4 or 5 deep on them in cash games. And in tournaments, if you want to use them, do it. Just know that they're going to be popular. Get different elsewhere. All right, Texas and Arizona. So Zack Allen against the Sam Howard, Jordan Lyles combo. Chalky Gallen has me like a little intrigued with Texas. They've been better lately. I mentioned this low in Trevino RBI or hits in the ninth cost me so much money. So I'm pissed at these guys, but what are you going to do? That's how DFS goes. That's how the DFS cookie crumbles, if you will. And it happened to me last night. So trying to get it back tonight. The Texas side is only really in play because they're facing a chalky Gallen. One guy that I've been using a bunch has been, where's my boy? Tavares. There he is, 2K. I mean, he wasn't starting last night, but check the game log. I mean, this dude runs like at 2K, and I like him a lot. And that 235 he was hitting way under 100, like before he got recently called up. So he has been hot since then. DJ Peters, another guy that's been really good. I mean, monster game a couple days ago on Sunday. Don't hate a couple pieces of Texas as leverage against chalky Gallen. They're not the most optimal, though, I'll say that. I like the Arizona side better against the Howard-Lyles combo. Ketel Marte, I'm always a huge fan. Don't think he gets much love at 5,100. They got some cheap pieces, though. Their lineup looks even weaker than at the beginning of the year. Tough to want to go fully on board with them. But if I was playing the night slate or if I had 5,100 left, I wouldn't hate Ketel Marte. White Sox and Oakland. So this is a game I think could see some offense. We've got Caprillion against Lampert. Oakland coming off a really rough series against Toronto. Probably took a lot of morale out of them. But they're right in the thick of things. They're a good team. I expect them to bounce back. This is a nice matchup here. I like this matchup. Two very just solid teams. I could see getting to either offense over the pitcher. I don't think they get much love. I hate going to teams coming off a really long road trip, but I do expect Oakland to bring it tonight, considering they just got embarrassed by Toronto. A couple of those games they should have won. So, yeah, Oakland, they're affordable, facing a not great pitcher, so they're in play for me for sure. Olsen, Chapman, Marte. We've seen these guys being more expensive recently, and I don't hate that at all. Murphy's affordable. He's a power, high upside power hitting catcher. And then the other side of this game also, Abreu's affordable. Always like Moncada against righties. He's affordable. Luis Robert. I mean, these guys just rake. Yeah, I like Chicago here as well. I could see offense in this game, probably more so than most people. Might be a game I use some pieces from. If I'm playing the night slate, definitely a game I'm using pieces from. All righty, Angels and Padres. So we've got Blake Snell against Packy Naughton. Snell can give it up, but this is not the spot I want to pick guys against him. I mean, the Angels, Jared Walsh is a lefty. Ohtani probably won't be in the lineup. They got guys who strike out a lot, like Joe Adell and Marsh. But Snell is in a really good spot on paper, I'll just say that. And so are the Padres. Packy Naughton was, from what I saw, actually, he wasn't very decent at all. So, yeah, San Diego's definitely in play here. It looked like they got going a little bit. Their ownership will not be high on this slate because of how many good spots there are. 6,100 for Tatis. Machado, he's starting to find his form a little bit. I like the Padres here. Their team I could see fully stacking that. I don't think anyone will. Latest game on the slate, late night hammer. Padres are definitely in play for me. Can use chalky pitching with them because they're not going to be popular. I can see the full stack also. They got guys up and down their lineup I want to use. I'm about the Padres here. I also like the A's and the White Sox. The Giants, obviously, in cash games. The Astros, I like a lot in tournaments. The Yankees, I like in tournaments. The Orioles and Royals in cash games. The combo of both. And the Reds, I love in tournaments. Damn, this slate has so many good spots. It's a tough one for sure. But I will definitely be narrowing it down by the time the write-up is out. If you want that, go check out the DFS 5-pack. Sign up. We'd love to have you. We got NFL specials going on. That starts this week. We are pumped. We're going to have videos coming out. It's probably starting tomorrow. And, yeah, thank you guys as always. Let's crush it tonight. Much appreciated. See y'all soon.